All right, clicking over. You know what? I don't know why people choose to. Good morning conversations during my theory time. Who does that? All right. Oh my. Hold on a moment. Hey guys, we're on chapter 2, infection control. I'm taking this call. I'll be right with you shortly. Just hold on. Also, make sure you clocked in already. Infection control principles and practices. Thank you guys. I've been trying to get my mom an appointment, and that was a caseworker. So please forgive me for taking a little moment. So we're at infection control principles and practices. First thing before we jump into this, this is what I want to say. That Brader certification comes out of natural hair. Okay. And it really comes out of this chapter. Mainly our regulations, those state law, the rules that they've created to have Brader's 16-hour continued education or 16-hour certification. And we do that every other year. Braiders have to renew this every other year, which means they have to go through that infection control every other year. And not only there's no specification of how to do something, it's just making sure they understand infection control principles and practices. So it's all about sanitation. It does limit you with their braider certification to only do braids, okay? Because when they approved it, they made the case of this is something culturally, naturally, this is, that they do. It's not something that needs a learning or practice to it. And so to maintain natural hair, they said we'll just keep the sanitation, pull the sanitation portion out, infection control portion out. And at least while you're working, there are some guidelines to making sure you are aware not to spread disease bacteria to clients, and that you're aware not to, just in a healthy salon environment, not to have that floating around your salon. So it's all about cleanliness. It's all about hygiene as well. So we're talking about as a braider, as an individual who has a profession under the beauty industry, no matter if it's braiding, natural hair, aesthetics, or whatever, we all have a responsibility on the hygiene side to make sure we're where we need to be and we're healthy for our clients, but also on the infection control side. So both of those factors are key to that braider certification. There's no test for it. There's an overview, and then we come over to natural hair. One thing distinctively in the law, it states that braiders cannot, braid certificate holders cannot label themselves as natural hairstylists. It's against the law. Okay. And then anyone who does, we went to state board and we heard a lot about the penalties. And so they're not giving you a minimum penalty at state board. They're sticking you with the max. And the max is $1,000. So you can go anywhere between $0 to $1,000 on any violation of that state board rules or laws. Okay, period. And so as we begin to move into licensure, one thing we do have to make sure that we're following all guidelines when it comes to infection control, everything that comes to the rules and regulations as well. Jada, did you see any, can you remember, how was your state board questions? Did you have I know you had a few of them. Is Jada on?
I'm here. So there were a couple. There weren't a lot though. There were only a couple. A lot of it was surfaced around terms and like shampooing and elasticity, porosity. Just kind of knowing those things in the ins and outs.
Okay. Awesome, awesome, awesome. So I believe a portion of the exam has to do with infection control. Let's just jump right in. If I can get back over to the chapter. Here we go. And remember, we're doing check-in questions of all of every chapter. All right, so let's look at our outline for this chapter. We're going to learn why study infection control principles and practices, some of the regulatory guidelines for health control, infectious diseases, principles of prevention and infection control, how to use antiseptics and disinfectants, universal precautions, and salon wellness, the professional salon image. So all of this is around health and hygiene. As you see at this picture, no matter where you work or your workstation, wherever you're going, you want to have a clean, nice, neat place to work. That's going to be a great benefit to clients coming in as well. Every clients want to come into a very clean, professional place as well. And so a part of your license is to do your top tier, do your best. All right. Do your best. Um, and your best should always be top tier when it comes to sanitation hygiene. Like, yeah, we're here to style, we're here to make build relationships with the clients, but our number one job is also before we present and an exchange of funds for services is to make sure we're in a very sanitary condition. Okay, which some things you probably have seen and you may have heard of. If I walk in the salon and it smells, I instantly, that's like walking in a restaurant. Yeah, I went to, me and my friends were in Orlando for a gala at the premiere show. And we went to an award show. We had evening gowns on, tux. And we decided that afterwards, we didn't want to go to no fancy, we wanted something to eat. We didn't want to go to no fancy restaurant. So we goes and said, hey, let's go to Denny's. Let's go to IHOP. And when I tell you we went to maybe four between Denny's and IHOP, we went to about four of them. And they all looked gloomy, dirty, depressing. And it was like, no, we absolutely cannot sit in here. And the one place we went to before we found a nice, well lit, clean place, we walked in and my nose instantly turned up. I smelled dirty mop water in a restaurant when I walked through the door. It was at an IHOP. And I was like, y'all don't smell that? Like the workers were sitting there. And I'm like, oh my goodness, we cannot eat here. And we tried to stand up there and talk to the lady, but we all decided that, hey, this is not going to work. We can't eat. We won't be able to eat our food for what we smell. So we have a duty to make sure anytime that we're dealing with the public, channel into your senses. If it smells a certain way to you, it's going to smell to them. And 9 times out of 10, many individuals would say they're part of their culture, certain foods and certain things that they eat. I've even had students do relaxers on clients and their body temperature started to warm up, their pores open, and I had two students to get dizzy, and I said they just playing around. Let me go over here to this client, and I literally got my eyes were kind of like, what's going on? The lady had a traditional African cuisine. She never adapted to US food. She still ate a lot of African cuisine. And it was so much so it was in her pores. So when the relaxer started to break down and open up the pores, the whatever the smell, whatever she had been eating was coming out of her pores. And it was causing my students. This is the first time they were not tripping to get away from a client. They literally were not feeling well. And because I felt the same thing, I was like, wow, there has to be a place there, has to be an even thing there. So it just depends on your clients as well. And you got to make sure you feel good, they feel good. That we can't do anything about her eating habits, but what we had to do was kind of just channel her services, kind of just work it slow at a time, a little bit at a time, which means as her relaxer relaxed, as we put it over one section, we had to put a cap over. And it made her relaxer go fast, but it also, whatever smell that was coming out of that section, it kind of held it in. So the students could still be able to continue to work. And that was like one of the most non-traditional services and situations that I've ever been a part of. At the same time, the board has strict rules about no sleeping in the salon or in the skin shop, nail shop, things of that nature. So there's no sleeping. And I know in some braid shops, There have been mattresses and air mattresses and different things, and they said that they would spend the night because they had clients the next day. It's totally against the law. Okay. If you're going to, we have rules for businesses in homes. And so you have to make sure that the city, county allows it. And then you have to get the state to approve it. And so, and it would not be any mattresses in the salon area. It would be a separate entrance and a separate bathroom. Okay. And so that will be your go-to thing as far as having a salon in a home. All right. And so a lot of times we see individuals who get licensed and they're just doing hair at home thinking they're just absolutely okay. But the licensure is okay, but where they're performing the services is not okay. Okay. So just remember that there have been places that people sleep. And on top of that, you have people not cleaning their instruments, cleaning their capes, cleaning their combs, and things like this. So if you're going to be braiding and styling and doing all this stuff, locking throughout the day, you need to know in your supplies, you need multiple, you need more than one. So when it comes to shampoo capes, when it comes to styling capes, two different things. When it comes to your combs and brushes, most of your investment should be in those tools. You should have multiple ones. Just like you see some barbers have multiple clippers and they rotate, you should also have multiple. All right. What has been found is the lack of sanitation in braiding salons. All right. And so this is also why Tennessee has such a strict rule when it comes to sanitation and infection control, because you do not want to pass on something from one client to the next. You literally will be shut down and come before the board. And then you want to be careful of what comes into your establishment as well. Because remember, and this is how I think of, and this is how I tell students, you have a family to go back home to. And remember, those individuals that come to you, they only want their hair done. So 9 times out of 10, they're not um, taking into account that you would catch whatever they have going on and you take it back home. So we always look at self and family first. Okay. And then if clients show signs of different things and you know you can't service them, you have to choose the healthy measure, infection control, rather than taking the money for the service. Okay. Because at the end of the day, your license is on the line. So I know you may have heard of so many things, seen so many things, but we have to have a point where we do not play with infection control. Your common cold, okay? You coughing or you sneezing over a client, one person could do one report, one complaint, and y'all, that can shut you down. Literally, in our state law book, you will have to stop doing services. So don't do services while you have that cold. All right. You're not supposed to be servicing clients. And the common cold, they're still considering that is a communicable disease. All right. And so you should not be styling, working over a client with a common cold, because think about when you're sneezing and you're touching, that bacteria is going out, sneezing into the air. It lasts about 6 hours. It lingers around. And if you don't have a healthy hygiene program, you got clients walking in and out, no spray, no nothing. Everybody is waiting on someone's systems to be low, their immune system to be low, and bam, they caught something. All right. So your clients having communicable disease and you having the same thing, you are not supposed to be servicing client per our Tennessee state law. Okay. So at the end of the day, we do have regulations that that's supposed to protect you and also pauses you from servicing other clients. Something that was changed and brought to my attention in the recent years, we used to have a rule that if you were using a hot towel on a client, it's just on the barber side, you were using a hot towel on the client, it's a or just a towel, as long as that towel was hot. You keep wetting it and squeezing out, and with hot water, you can continue using the towel. Y'all, that is not so, and it's only been changed about 10 years. And it was an old law. And so now the law states there's a new fresh towel for every client. Okay. So can you imagine some of the infections or diseases that could have spread from using that same towel over and over? All right. And so definitely we're going to understand the state laws and rules regarding infection control. And we definitely can look that up. Um, and we want to use at least a 70% alcohol. If you're not using anything else, you want to use at least a 70% alcohol, right? And you have to make sure that when we go to state boards on your practical, that you take something that kills three things. So if you're going to take wipes or a spray, it has to kill bacteria, it has to kill fungus, and it has to kill viruses. So you cannot take Clorox wipes. You can't take Flaviloso spray because they don't kill three things, those three things, okay? You have the Barbicide wipes, Marvicide wipes, Citrus 2 spray, things of that nature, something on a higher salon level as far as disinfection, infection control. And you have to make sure that what you have has a manufacturer label on it. So it needs to be the label from the manufacturer, not something you've written on the bottle. I always suggest it's Amazon or Cosmo Prof and getting the Barbicide wipes, about 10, 12 bucks a container. Okay. And that's where you're going to be using. That's going to be your biggest A-OK to be used in the salon or spa. Okay, so we're going to understand the state laws and rules regarding infection control, list of types of bacteria and their classifications. I'm going to tell you now, a majority of your test is highly tested on infection control. All right. So, Jada, when you get ready to go, want to do a walkthrough of the practical. So, the biggest thing is going to be you closing your kit. And for my students, the kit is going to be a tote. The kit is going to be a tote. Okay. So the bags are fine, but they're also saying you can bring totes, like what you put your clothes in, your storage and stuff like that. You can bring totes. Okay. And the reason why I'm choosing those totes over bags, because they said many students lose points because they forget to close the bag. They forget to close the bags, okay? And when you forget to close the bags and leave the bag open, that is something that causes you to lose points. So you got to be careful. You got to be careful about everything. So we're going to use some totes. When you hear that click, you know that the bags are closed. Your tote is closed. You don't have to label the tote, pre-sanitize, but we will make sure that all of our bags are inside of the tote. All right. You're also going to make sure you have plenty of gloves and wipes and hand sanitizer. Because every time you touch the tote, you would need to change your gloves and sanitize your hands. All right. And so that's always going to be, and definitely if you don't have the gloves, you are sanitizing your hand. So it's a big emphasis on sanitation. You're going to list the types of bacteria and their classifications, explain how bloodborne pathogens are transmitted, and then explain the differences between cleaning, disinfecting, and sterilizing. And then we'll discuss the universal precautions. Here are your terms. All right, your terms. Go back to our page. All right, so we have a good amount of terms. I'm telling you now, there's plenty of tinea, wingworm terms, staphylococci, streptococci, scutula, hepatitis. Yeah. Oh, yeah. We putting in some work. We putting in some work with these terms. So this chapter is going to all be about our terms. So just continue to take note. What I would say with the terms, get you some blank index cards, put your term on the front, definition on the back. All right, term on the front, definition on the back, and that can help you with your study of the terms. All right. So why study infection control principles? It says natural stylish is study and have a thorough understanding of infection control principles and practices because to be knowledgeable, successful, and responsible professionals in the natural hair care and braiding industry. Okay. We do have to understand what we see and what we're working with. All right. We have to understand just their minimum levels of infection control. So they're not asking you to go all out into medical degrees, science, and things of nature. It's just our minimum understanding. Okay. And if someone doesn't have the minimum understanding, I tell people all the time, you don't know, you can't clean up, you can't do sanitation. How are you servicing the public? Okay. We also have to understand the basic cleaning and disinfecting rules. Cleaning will brings us into sanitation. So basic cleaning and disinfecting. The difference between cleaning and disinfecting. Cleaning, I'm just wiping the surface. Okay. Disinfecting, I may spray and then I let it sit and then I wipe. Okay. I'm trying to kill as many germs as possible. Cleaning the surface, the germs could possibly still be there and the surface is just clean. Okay. And disinfecting, I'm actually killing forms of bacteria with disinfection, disinfectants. All right. You'll make sure you're following state and local rules, laws as it pertains to that, how to keep you safe and your clients safe. So that's why we have the labeler. Um, Keeping the label on there. We have material safety data sheets. You have OSHA, you have FDA, and you have the EPA. So those are some agencies we'll definitely talk about as well with this chapter. And then finally, it says it's important to understand the chemistry of cleaning and disinfecting products that you use in the salon. So understanding what they're made up of. Removing all disease-causing agents in the salon is almost impossible, especially with people going back and forth to the bathrooms. They're sitting in your chair. You can only do so much, but what we can do, we'll make sure that that's the best that we ever do. Okay. Looking at here when it comes to regulatory guidelines for health control, state and federal regulations. When it comes to the health department will also regulate tattoo artists, microbladers, micro shaders, things of that nature. Okay, everybody else will fall under the state law in beauty. All right. And also health department regulates electrolysis, and it comes under that factor. When it comes to us, we have Tennessee State Board of Cosmetology. Every state has a board. Okay. Some states are on a national testing, which means one test, you will have consistently the same information across for each course. All right. And national testing would be okay if Shada was in New York and it's a national test and it's associated with 13 other states. Once she's licensed in New York, she will also be licensed in those additional 13 states. Okay. Tennessee has a ways to go. This coming year, we'll have in effect a compact license. And so the compact license for now is for a cosmetology. So what happens if someone takes the cosmetology exam, they have a license, but they'll also be good in a few other states. Okay. And they wouldn't have to apply for reciprocity and things like that to other states. Whew. Then they're going to move to aesthetics. So right now they're going from course to course to course, trying to add that. And right now, natural hair is not within that course. Okay. Natural hair is not within that course. So let's look at state and federal regulations require that certain preventive measures be taken against the spread of infection, disease, and germs, or the salon operator's business can be shut down. Y'all, when I tell you we were at that state board meeting, they were talking about literally hitting the salons and managers harder. All right. Simply because salon owners and managers there's neglect for checking for licensures. So many people invading the field without legal recourse. And remember, the manager is highly responsible, just like the salon owner is. And so when it comes down to sanitation, things like that, all it has to be taken out. The trash. I remember when I was a booth runner, why did I have um, co-workers who were also booth runners just mad because they were asked to take out the trash, mad because they were asked to mop around their stations. I mean, you rent that space. And if you're not sanitary, it gets points deducted from everybody on the team. So we have to make sure that wherever you're working, wherever you go, that you take some form of accountability when it comes to health and hygiene and its regulations. Even in the state law book, it says mop, the area should be mopped every day. Okay. It should be mopped every day. All right. So mop every day, trash taken out and cleaned and wiped down. When one of the state board inspectors will always come to my business, he will also always ask to go to the restroom. And most of the time when they're going to the restroom, they're trying to see how clean the bathroom is. And so I remember one time we had a long work night and I was in a salon in Raleigh. We had a long work night. And I said, I get it in the morning. And when I got there in the morning, the inspector was sitting outside of the salon. And so she deducted my points because my bathroom wasn't clean. Because I said I get it in the morning. All right. So I had trash spilling over in the bathroom. And we still had trash from the night before. So from that point on, that has been probably 23 years ago, 24 years ago. I have said, I can't wait. Can't wait till morning because the same situation will happen. The same situation will happen. So you got to make sure that you're taking care of everything. Okay. Yes, each state has particular guidelines that they must follow, and they address the responsibilities of the salon owner. I think our state does a great job of regulating our shops. Okay. And also the updates of those as well. All right. So if we have any problems, any issues, refer back to our Tennessee State Board of Cosmetology. And also our rules and our laws as it pertains to you. I know your course is natural hair, but it falls under cosmetology. All right. So when you see that there those rules are for you as well. If you're in our Facebook private group for the school, DCI Academy Virtual Training, if you go under files, you will find the state law booklet updated and the rules booklet updated. Okay. These are going to be two things every student, every course that they read and understand. All right. So going into that, it's going to be good for everybody to pull down and print out. All right. So OSHA, let's talk about some of these regulatory agencies. We look at OSHA. What I need you to do is know what OSHA stands for. Okay. So you may have a multiple choice question, then you may see these long um, abbreviations. Know exactly what OSHA stands for. OSHA, Occupational Safety and Health Administration. Then I'm also going to ask, what's OSHA's job? Okay. It's a federal agency created as part of the U.S. Department of Labor to regulate, here we go, and enforce safety and health standards to protect employees in the workplace. All right. All right. So OSHA helps protect employees in the health place, in the workplace. So they regulate and enforce safety and health standards to protect the clients, to protect the employees in the workspace. All right. So OSHA is Occupational Safety and Health Administration. All right. It focuses on safety and health concerns on the work environment and employee protection. The primary functions of OSHA to regulate, monitor, and ensure employee safety with toxic materials used in the work area and reduce exposure to infectious diseases. All right. So OSHA has a huge job to protect you. A lot of times we were working jobs that fall under OSHA guidelines, whether it's warehouses or wherever we work. We need to make sure we're following the rules and guidelines, because if we're dealing with toxins, chemicals, things of that nature, OSHA is going to give us the best way to move about and to handle these. Excuse me. It says that the braid stylist, this is our next one. The braid stylist is vulnerable to daily exposure to bacteria and infection. Absolutely true. Okay. And what's in bold is bacteria. All right. Bacteria also has other terms. And so sometimes bacteria is also called micro. Okay. But bacteria, singular, bacterium. It says one cell microorganisms that have both plant and animal characteristics. Some are harmful and some are harmless. So there are some good bacteria. If you eat yogurt, there's some good bacteria. Okay, has your sacrifice. This is some good bacteria. All right, has that yeast in there. It balances our pH. All right, too much of a good thing to throw it off. All right, and so when you talk about yogurt and the good bacteria, it falls under women's health and things of that nature. And so there's some good bacteria and then there's some bad bacteria, but it's defined as a one cell microorganism that have both plant and animal characteristics. All right. It says, although natural stylists do not use chemicals to alter hair textures and other chemicals in the salon, such as antiseptics, cleanser, disinfectants, styling aids, shampoos, conditioners are used, and these products have guidelines. So although you're not using relaxers, you're still using chemicals in the salon. All right. And so we got to make sure we follow all of the guidelines to protect our employees and to protect us from toxin buildup. Okay. And when it says here, OSHA sets standards for mixing, storing, disposing of chemicals and hazardous products, this is what you should take note of, because when you have the blue barbicide, for example, and you know it mixes with water, sometimes I can walk in somewhere and I have this deep blue barbicide. I see it on someone's station. I'm saying they did not follow mixing instructions. It's too concentrated, it's too strong. But the more water you add to it, it starts to break down. Then I walked into a school I used to teach at, and the director would, do the barbicide, and it was light blue like water. Just had a hint of blue. At that point, it was too light. It wasn't strong enough. It wasn't going to kill anything. This is why we have to always make sure we're following manufacturer's instructions. All right. So, yes, we'll get the items and then we have to read the directions for them as well. Let's look at the next thing, SDS sheets. All right. Anytime that you're using a chemical at state board, you need to have the SDS sheets. All right. That's going to be, you guys don't have chemicals, but when we start to just look over the CBI booklet again, the PSI booklet again, we'll look in there and see if there's anything prone. But safety data sheets, every chemical you have, you're supposed to pull a safety data sheet on there, or it will have something accompanied with it, a link, website, or something where I can easily pull it up. All right. So safety data sheets used to be called material safety data sheets. Okay. MSDS for those individuals that went to school a long time ago. So recently they've dropped the M and they have safety data sheets. Okay. And it says information compiled by the manufacturer about product safety. And so the manufacturer will provide information how to use this product. What's the shelf life of the product? Okay. What can this product be mixed with? If on the shelf, what can this product sit close to? What does this product have to be away from? Okay. When we open it, what happens to the product? What's the heating temperature, the cooling temperature? All of those that's information that would be on the safety data sheets. Okay. Including the names of hazardous ingredients, safe handling and use practices. So it'll give you examples of if this gets in your eye, it tells you exactly what to do. Rinse water, don't put your hands in your eye, so on and so on. Okay. And so it really helps you to understand more about that product that you have. And so, yes, I know from Mississippi, you will have to have your safety data sheets out. All right. Your state law has to be out. So I have a friend girl, she just hangs it on the wall. Stapled is on the wall. And then the material safety data sheets. Also, she hangs that on the wall. And most of the times, maybe near the shampoo area or wherever her disinfectants and cleaners and things like that are. Tennessee does not require that. They only require you to hang your license. They don't require you to have those two forms, the state laws out or the safety data sheets out. All right. So that's just something that some states allow and other states don't care if you do it or not. All right. But we need to know what safety data sheets do. So it gives you instructions on how to deal with the disinfectants, the materials that you have going on. It also is published by the manufacturer and it has a series of to do and not to do lists when it comes to that disinfectant. How to mix it, so on and so on and so on. Okay, let's get to the dates. Whenever you see dates, you may want to have you a notebook that just has the dates on there so you can keep note of those. Okay. And so when you hear 1970s, that all chemical manufacturers and importers must analyze and communicate any potential hazard associated with their products. So this is where we get our recalls from. It's by state law now that we are supposed to, they're supposed to warn everybody about this. Okay. So develop systems for safety. Says it is important for the natural salon professional to develop a system, a set of procedures to help reduce a risk of exposure to infection. Ultimately, that's our job, is to reduce the risk of exposure to infection. All right. And really infectious diseases and hazardous products, ingredients. Sometimes our ingredients could be hazardous. And even if we look at we say, hey, we're going to do a day of cleaning. I've been a part of those cleaning days at schools and things of that nature. And especially you have someone that just wants to just clean, 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 they may be mixing certain things that should not be mixed together. But they may think, oh yeah, let me mix pine sol and also let me mix bleach together. Well, they don't go together. Okay. And what's found is the chemicals in each one of them counteract each other and causes a gas to be produced. When we inhale that gas then become harmful to the body. And first thing our body knows is to shut down. Let's close this wherever this gas is coming, is trying to go to the lungs, let's close this up. And that's when you have people that have breathing issues and things like that from certain chemicals being mixed together. And literally, it could be fatal. Okay, so you're having a cleaning day, hydrochloride plus ammonia, it's not going to work. Okay, together it becomes a gas that causes actual damage to the human body, to the lungs, and things of that nature. So even inhaling the gas, and you can't see it, but inhaling the gas, you'll see individuals start coughing, maybe even spitting up, but maybe even saying, I'm having trouble breathing. So even though things that we've used at home and you want to use them in the salon, you have to be so cautious of everybody around you. Okay. I even got in trouble. Now, the state board inspector, he just had words with me. He was like, it smells really good in here. But what if you agitated someone's sinuses? So even to that point, so it is not advised that we use bleach in the salon because of how it travels and how it smells, and it could mix with other gases in the air and become very harmful. And so your stuff that smells amazing probably are not the most effectively to be used in the salon. Naturally, when we're at home, we think, oh yeah, use some bleach because it cleans everything. But we got to be mindful. We just can't go through there using bleach and you got a salon full of people. Okay. You might have someone that have sensitive with their sinuses, someone sensitive um, with scents or smells, whatever. So you have to find something neutral. This is why they want you to use something that kills viruses, bacteria, and fungi. And usually those individuals do not have a scent to them. Okay. And so it clings, but you don't find a trail. It doesn't bother anyone's respiratory system. All right. And it tells you what you can mix with, what you should mix with. And the only thing is water is what you would mix those with. Okay. Um, and so the system must be uncomplicated, easy to understand, concise, and follow all state regulations. You may see this here in your dispensary area, safety data sheets, or you may see it wherever your towels and books may be, and you're able to pull it out. If you're doing hair color, you should have safety data sheets. If you're doing bleach services, same. Um, Brazilian blowout, same. Okay, so all kinds of chemicals that we use should also have safety data sheets. All right, so those are called SDS. Here's something I picked out I wanted us to go over. Federal and state laws require salons to obtain SDS from the product manufacturers or distributors for each professional product that is used. So think about the products that you used on your last client. Do you have any paperwork on it? Is that from the manufacturers or distributors? So when you bought that product, it probably didn't have warning labels on it, but it had a website. Okay. So our job, oh, Jada says all of this was in the test. Yes. So our job is to make sure that we have those SDS sheets. And the only thing you can do is you can Google the item and Google the SDS sheets for the item. All right. Um, let's just do something here. And it's something I went over. All right. All right. So I typed in Miel Organics SDS sheet. Okay. I clicked. Here's the product name: Miel Rosemary and Mint Scalp and Hair Straightening Growth Oil. And then this is the SDS sheet. A lot of times, if we as stylists, most of us probably would not, look up and do some research on the product, we probably won't have any problems. Okay. But because Miel is in like a lot of news feeds and blogs, I just wanted to pull up the safety data sheet to see how did they warn people about the product. So what were some of their things? So product type is a finishing retail eye product, consumer use only. So it's not for professionals, it's for those everyday people. It recommended for treatment for hair, use only as directed on the label. Here's the manufacturer information. It's made out of Illinois. Here's the phone number. Here's the emergency transportation phone number within the USA and Canada, outside the USA and Canada. So it tells you how to contact the company. Number two, hazard identification, classification 2B, signal word warning. So it has a warning on there. Hazard statements causes eye irritation if it gets in the eye. Now, why it causes eye irritation? Because it's, first of all, it has rosemary and mint. Those are two strong essentials. All right. Think about tea tree and peppermint, two very strong essential oils. No hazardous pictures, precautionary statements for to wash hands thoroughly after handling. If it gets in the eyes, rinse cautiously with water for several minutes. Remove contact lenses. If present and easy to do, continue rinsing. If eye irritation persists, get medical attention. There's no storage details, no disposable details, and no otherwise classified details. Okay, no known interactions with other chemicals. Composition and information on the ingredients. No substances that at their given concentration are considered hazardous for your health. All right. So remember the issue that was saying people hair coming out. This here says no hazardous to the health. So nothing going on. It doesn't affect anything to the body or the insides of the body. All right. You used to will have, now they're saying that some relaxers has been marked hazardous to the health and they were not marked on the initial SDS sheets. That if it is proven hazardous to the health, the company would be responsible. And so that's where the lawsuit will lie. First aid measures, okay? Eye contact, skin contact, inhaling it, ingesting it, so you eat it. And it could cause vomiting, diarrhea, things of that nature. Firefighting measures, use dry chemical, carbon dioxide, alcohol resistant foam, or water if something catches a fire. Accidental release measures, okay? Personal precautions, avoid contact with eyes. Emergency responses, wear appropriate personal protection equipment. So that's gloves, aprons, things of that nature. Environmental precautions, how does it interact with the environment? None known. Okay. Methods for contaminant and cleaning up, contains spilled material with dikes or absorbents. Method for cleaning up, contains spilled materials. So anything that can clean up oil and things of that nature. And they said wash down and use with a detergent. Okay. Handling and storage, advice on safe handling, avoid contact with eyes, wash hands thoroughly after using or handling, and conditions for safe storage, secure container after each use, store in a cool, dry, and secure area, exposure controls, personal protection, no relevant exposure guidelines, personal protection equipment, eye protection, physical and chemical properties. It is a liquid, How does it look? Clear yellow, clear light yellow, water, thin liquid, odors, rosemary, and mint fragrance. Okay. So that is a big thing too, is fragrance instead of essential oils. Sometimes the fragrance could be that thing that's too strong. It agitates the scalp and people can lose hair. Okay. And sometimes the product is labeled too strong as well. Mint and rosemary is strong. Okay. And both of those will dilate the cuticle. And so they were probably making something that sold really, really good. And here's the thing, Miel was working it by, just small company and was doing big numbers. But when it got sold to a larger company, of course, those companies want the same result, but they want to cut down on how much it takes to make the product. So this is why they have those alternative ingredients, and those alternative ingredients may have caused Miel to have these issues. So somebody will say, Miel is going to be sued. No, the company has been sold. Whoever bought the company is the ones getting sued. She just has her brand and likeness attached to it. So they may side eye her when she comes out with another product, but she would personally be free and clear. Took her 30 million, excuse me, 30 or 40 million, and she would really be gone in the wind if she wanted to. Melting and freezing information, nothing. Boiling point, 212 degrees Fahrenheit, so very, very hot. The density, the space in the container, 0.88, 0.94. So it has a little weight, and velocity of the product. It's not so much an oil weight, but it's like water. So you ever seen something that has serum or drops? It comes out like a water consistency. Okay. So not so much an oil consistency. Stability and reactivity. This area number 10 would be one of the key areas that they would go to find out more about this product and if this product was causing hair loss. Okay. Normal use conditions, stable under normal conditions. Hazardous does not occur. None under normal processing. So basically, after all their studies, they haven't found anything that could cause this product to be harmful to the client. Hazardous decomposition products upon combustion, if this does burst, the product will yield carbon monoxide, carbon dioxide, and various hydrocarbons. Okay, so at that time, it would be a little harmful to the client. Toxicological information. Ecological. Okay. Exotoxicity effects of this product as a whole have not been tested. The product ingredients are expected to be safe for the environment at concentrations predicted under normal use and accidental spill. Disposal considerations, all of this is on SDS sheets. And if you think about it, every product that you bring into your salon needs to have an SDS sheet. All right. And so easily one day you can go and do all the work, take a list of your products, and you can print off an SDS sheet for each product and keep it in a binder. Every time you add a new product, you add a new SDS sheet. Every time you take away a product, you'll take away the SDS sheets. Okay. This is especially great if you're going to be working in Mississippi because it's a law requirement. Okay. With us going to state board for our practical, any products that we're using, we got to make sure we have an SDS sheet. Okay. And so most of the time we're using like mock product. I'm going to say when it comes to SDS sheets, we make sure we have it for our barbicide And then we'll make sure we have it if we're using like a braid gel or jam or something or some kind of spray in our practical. We'll make sure we have the SDS sheet at that point. Any questions? Questions? All right. So we introed into chapter 2 today. Just pausing at the SDS sheet. What I would like you to go ahead and do, Nini, is actually we're going to do that this week. Let's start our index cards on this chapter. We know we have to do our check-in questions, but let's start our index cards on this chapter. We'll dedicate the rest of the week to our index cards and learning our terms. And we've already started knocking down some of those terms. We've already started knocking down a few of those terms. When we jump back on Wednesday, we will review a few and keep it going. Okay. So we talked about the importance of our infection control, OSHA, bacteria, safety data sheets. We've already started knocking that down. And just giving a little overview, we looked at a safety data sheet. The next thing we'll look at is EPA. And EPA is Environmental Protection Agency. And I told you between OSHA, EPA, and FDA, we got to know exactly what they do. Usually at State Board, we could have had a bottle full of disinfectant and wrote EPA on it. Okay, that would have been good. But now we have to have the actual label of that disinfectant on the bottle. And so pretty much we'll go to barbicide.com, go to labels, and print those labels out if we don't have a bottle with the original label from Barbicide. Okay. EPA sets high standards for manufacturers of products that claim to kill germs, fungi, or viruses. It says all disinfectants must be registered with the EPA. An EPA registration number is given to products that have the highest level of germicidal, fungicidal, or virucidal disinfectants. Okay, that's what we're looking for, is a product that has the highest level of EPA registration number. Okay, it has to be a virucidal, fungicidal, bactericidal in order for us to use it at State Board. Okay. And it says disinfectants are chemical products that kill all bacteria, kill the fungi, but not the spores. What that particularly means, it'll kill the bacteria, but it doesn't kill where the birth of the bacteria comes from. So potentially the bacteria has opportunity to grow back again. The only infection control measure that kills the bacteria and the spores is going to be sterilization. Okay. And at high boiling point to kill the spores. But everything, we don't really do boiling sterilization in the salon, but we do have UV cabinets and things like that we call sterilizers that kill bacteria. Okay. And so we'll pick back up on EPA 2829. And so what I need you to do, continue reading the chapter. I want you to look over the terms and the ones that we've already went over. Let's start getting our index cards for those. It's going to be a great study mechanism for us, and also preparing to do the check-in questions or the questions at the end of the chapter. That's going to be our assignments for the week. Okay. If you guys need, it's going to conclude today's class. If you need anything, I am going to be in the building today. And I think tonight we're building kits for State Board. I know with aesthetics, I'm probably going to buy an extra tote, and I need to go over the natural hair and braiding as far as the practical component and see what tools should go in that tote. So Jada, just give me a call later on and we'll work on picking a day to go ahead and get that kit built for you, okay?
Beautiful, because I literally just walked into Cosmo picking up more Barbicide. Well,
Remember, there's
whites,
M
dip
squared.
set shape. What was that?
Remember, there's M squared too. M squared beauty supply. It has a
Is that
whole
the
lot.
one out on Winchester and East Memphis?
Uh-huh. Has a whole lot of disinfectants and maybe a little tad bit cheaper than Cosmo Prop. But I like the Barbicide wipes from Cosmo Prop.
That's actually what I have in my cart right now.
Yeah, yeah. So that's pretty much it. Seals is done deal. You ain't gotta do nothing else. Because people that spray, and they forget to wipe certain areas. But yeah, I like the Barbicide wipes. But check out the M squared. It may not have stuff specifically to braiding, but it has a lot of supplies, a lot of lashes, a lot of
Oh, well,
hair.
I'm on my way there.
Yeah, a lot of Brazilian hair products and stuff too. And that's all about moisture. But um use the school name and number and tell them you want to get set up. You need an account.
Thank you.
I think you get a discount too. Okay. Nene, I'm gonna see if they got a website because you could do the same.
Okay, that'll be nice.
Yeah, because I know you're not here. So Jada, if you go in there, see if they got a website and we can pass it on to Nene and she can set up the same thing.
I will, because I definitely need some more argan oil. I don't have any, and I'm throwing Moroccan oil.
Oh, you Moroccan oil. He's probably gonna get it from there. But definitely go and see if they have an alternative because they do have a lot of stuff that you don't see. I like Brazilian and Italian products and color. And so if I was going to do color, I'm buying it from there. But check it out. They got a wall full of lashes. I mean, sometimes the clients ain't got to go nowhere. You just buy it in bulk from them. And a bag for $12 when you paying almost $3 or $4 for a pack of clusters or $5 for a pack of clusters when you can get a bag. You can get six for $12.
Oh,
So
I'm on my way.
all right. Make sure, yeah, check us out. We got to make sure we hook Nene up too. But until Wednesday, I'll see y'all. Y'all have a blessed